Hey, welcome back to It's Called Soccer, the show where I discuss soccer from the perspective of an American sports fan. I'm your host, Michael. Coming up on today's show, I'm going to talk about the epic World Cup final, my terrible prediction from both games, and what made it all exciting. You won't want to miss. Stay tuned. Alrighty, let's get this out of the way. My picks aged like milk in a wine barrel. I was wrong, and I will be the first to admit it. Okay, now, on to the bronze medal game. Croatia versus Morocco. I wanted to begin with several observations that I made from watching the game. I'm just going to start with the fact that right during the national anthems being played on both sides, the crowd seemed to be heavy pro Morocco, singing their national anthems. Like all throughout the broadcast, you could also hear those little whistles that are synonymous with the Morocco national team at this point. Early on, Croatia seemed to be content sitting behind the ball and locking down their half of the pitch. They really only seemed to want to counterattack right from the outset of the game. But their first goal came from a set piece, and that was scored by a center back, reinforcing what I think about them as a whole, and that was they don't seem to be able to score with build-up play, but a good job taking an early lead. And then bam, right after that, minutes later, Morocco's response, just a couple minutes later, again, another goal from a set piece, and now we're back to even field here. And that both teams have looked equally threatening when they are on the front foot, really attacking. But that goal by Orsic, it really felt like an inevitability at the point in which the goal was scored. He had been threatening. He had been the most threatening player on the pitch for their team. And the second half starts with Croatia coming out really guns a-blazing. I mean, they came out and then there was another chance created within minutes of the whistle. And Morocco, heading into the end of that game, the last 10 minutes of the match, Morocco really seemed to lay it all out. They seemed to be pushing. But at that point, everything that they were trying, it just came a little too late. All in all, though, I think that game was very entertaining. It was a lot more entertaining than I thought it would be, given the track record of how these two teams played their previous games. Croatia's ability to score a goal in open play, to me, was the difference. I mean, obviously it was the difference in the score, but I didn't see them being able to do that because they did not seem to do it well throughout the entire tournament. And Morocco seemed to be a team that could score a goal in open play. So when they got that goal on the set piece to even the score early on, I thought to myself, well, all Morocco's got to do is just score their one goal a game in open play that I know they were good for. And that one goal was the difference in the game. But hats off to Croatia. All right, here we go. A fun fact for you. Now, they say that Americans don't watch soccer, but Fox announced that they drew just short of 17 million viewers for the World Cup final in the United States. The Spanish language coverage on Peacock and Telemundo also drew about 9 million. So put that together, it's about 26 million US-based viewers. Now, that is a new record, making it the most watched men's World Cup broadcast in English language TV history. And this number came long after the USMNT was eliminated. So the idea that Americans were only watching for the U.S. national team and then the viewership was going to drop, that did not seem to be the case here. America was tuned in and America was interested in watching that game. Now on to the final here. I just want to begin again. I said Argentina was going to lose. I'll admit that I was wrong here. But what I underestimated and what I have come to realize since is that soccer just means so much to the Argentinians. You know, it's crazy because the town of Buenos Aires, how do you say? I don't want to slaughter. Buenos Aires alone, they have 40 soccer teams in that one city. Now let that number sink in. 40. They are very, very proud and hardworking people who love soccer. And their national team puts on the identity of the people it represents like a cape. It is their superpower. Argentina has won the World Cup for the first time in 36 years. Sure, you know, that team had been inspired by Messi, but let's not get it twisted. The team as a whole was most responsible for claiming this trophy from the defending champs. And I also would just like to point out, and I'm not making excuses here, but it's certainly something that needs to be said. France had to overcome so very much to make it to this final. There was a real, genuine virus, or let's just call it a sickness, that was making its way through their national team. I read an article that speculated some theories about where exactly this sickness originated. Some believe it was from the overly air-conditioned rooms they were staying in their resort hotel. And some also pointed blame at their contact with England during the quarterfinal, And I find that to just be so hilarious given the historical aspect of the English bringing sickness to the Native Americans in the Americas. I find that to be ironic that they want to point to the English like the English got me sick. You can't make that up. Now, what type of sickness were they dealing with? Some had headache, stomach, and just regular plain old like COVID-like fatigue. However, though, the team as a whole, they weren't forced to undergo any sort of large-scale COVID testing examinations. The FFF, the French Football Federation, all they did was put hand sanitizer everywhere, and then they asked the resort staff to mask up. Okay. Okay. Whatever the reason may be, though, France came out flat, and they just didn't have any energy. The first full hour, first 60 minutes of that match was dominated by Argentina, no doubt about it. Argentina came out playing with a purpose. They were aggressive and they were energetic. France didn't even get a shot on goal in the first hour of the game. They didn't even have a touch in the Argentine penalty area either. Super telling about the dominance of that Argentina side. When we watched Di Maria carve up and cook Dembele for that foul that resulted in Messi's penalty goal, I think I know for a fact I audibly screamed at my TV. Something had to change. And Deschamps, he agreed. A substitution was made in the 38th, and he got Dembele and he got Giroud out of there. Now, maybe they were tired or maybe they were sick. Whatever the case, that didn't matter because France as a whole needed an energy boost. And when they got to the sidelines, the camera cut to the two substituted players, and Dembele was visibly shook. That man was shook. Giroud was pissed, on the other hand. the camera they captured him throwing a water bottle. The scenes were not indicative of a team that believed they even deserved to be playing in this game. Now, luckily for France, those substitutions worked like a dream. The energy level of the French team was visibly up. You could see it. Mbappe then scored a penalty that was awarded for Otamendi's foul on Kolo Muani. Then, the second goal, minutes later, Mbappe scored on a volley. Now look out, it's 2-2. We're heading into the end of regulation. These two subs that came on, Kingsley Coman and Thuram, they both played a major role in the build-up that led to that equalizer, with Camavinga being subbed on as a left back. And I've seen you people on the Twitters take issue with Camavinga playing left back. And if I remember correctly, I think it was the Australia game when he came on at left back, and people were criticizing that move. All the things that I've read about Camavinga describe him, and I'm gonna put air quotes here, as a footballer's footballer. He can play all 10 positions, with the exception of goalkeeper, if he was asked to, and he can play them well. So that dude could ball anywhere you put him. He needed to be on that team, and his presence changed the game. So, anyway, now we're on to the 108th, where Messi scores his go-ahead goal off of that rebound from Lautaro Martinez. And I just want to know, did anybody else see when Romero got all up in Mbappe's face and was yelling and screaming in his face, celebrating that goal like the game was just over then? Because I remember, and Mbappe didn't forget either. Good on him for keeping his cool, because I cannot say that I'd be in the same way, especially in the heat of competition. Now, minutes later, Mbappe converted another penalty for a handball. This time it was against Argentina. And this game was just getting crazier and crazier by the minute. And just at the end, the last shot, France had to seal the deal and win it at the end of extra time, was Kolo Muani had a breakaway, just a strike of a goal. I mean, he hit the ball hard with a lot of pace, and Emi Martinez made this spreading, falling, diving save. And if you look up pictures of it, it's ridiculous. I mean, he was the best keeper, and it showed. He had the most energy, and it was clear to see. So now we're heading to penalties. And we all know how that ends. Argentina converts every single penalty that they take, and France missed 2. Game over. World champions, Argentina. Hats off to them. Now, I know on my last episode, I said I had France winning. I was almost right, but almost only counts in horseshoes. Shout out to the hardworking people of Argentina. I can gladly admit I was wrong, especially when we got a game that exciting to place a bow on a wonderful World Cup tournament. And to be clear, I also want to say that I enjoyed the World Cup overall, but I want to make it known that my enjoyment of the World Cup, the world's enjoyment for that matter of the World Cup, had nothing to do with Qatar as a host nation. The games were played on the pitch, and those enjoyable and memorable performances were put on by the players. So credit to them. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for today's episode. If you like these, please consider clicking on that subscribe button so you never miss an upload of my show. Also, in the notes, there is a link for a voicemail line. I would love to hear from you, the listener, about what you think of the show. So please consider leaving me a voicemail. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you later.